and welcome to 10%. Well, a month ago we had quite a historic election in the United States, and nowhere more so than in the state of California. And back for my guest today is Bob Reid, commentator with The Reid. What's the name of the website again?
It's the Reid Buzz.
The Reid Buzz. Now, what has the buzz been about in the last month? You know, the dust has settled. We've got a new governor of California. We have a new Congress. What are you looking to see change after all the inaugurations in January?
Well, I'm really interested in what's going to happen in California because the Democrats were able to hold all the constitutional offices except for Attorney General, which remains up in the air. And we have this exciting new governor, new old governor. Everything that's old is new again, with Jerry Brown and, of course, Gavin Newsom, the lieutenant governor, and top to bottom, great ticket. And Barbara Boxer was reelected. In the legislature, they gained one seat, and I have to say, the seat they gained was against Mr. Pugno, the attorney for Prop 8. The Democrats beat him. It's a wonderful victory. And so in California is blue. The rest of the state's mostly red.
Now, the Tea Party, which we've all been hearing about for the last year, it seems like ad infinitum. How big a voice and how big an effect is the Tea Party going to have on 2012?
I'll tell you what they're going to have effect upon. They're going to have a real effect upon the 60 new members that were elected to the House of Representatives because they were elected with Tea Party support. These guys and gals are going to go to Congress and blend into the reality of ruling, governing the country. And if they don't toe the line, the Tea Party line, Tea Party guys are going to come after them. So the Republicans are in a real interesting spot.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when you say the Tea Party guys, aren't the Tea Party guys the same as the Republican guys? I mean, how unique are they? I mean, isn't the Tea Party really just an unofficial voice of the Republican Party?
Well, I think the Republican Party has manipulated the Tea Party to their advantage, but I think they are separate, David. I think it's a grassroots movement of people that are unhappy with government and unhappy with everything. And the Republicans have fed upon that in a very kind of cynical way, yes. And they may end up, what's the Chinese proverb about the riding on the tail of the tiger? Yeah. It may end up hitting them in the face because they're going to be forced to pay attention to this ideology. The opportunity for the Democrats in the House of Representatives and the President is to put forth the President's agenda. We could still control the Senate. Democrats have got to stop being timid, number one. Democrats have got to stop worrying about the Republicans and playing to the Republicans' attention and remember our base, remember the people that elected Obama, and win some, you lose some.
Well, but I mean, some people would say, and I've heard it said during the last month, that Obama really actually the Democrats did keep the base in this last election. It was the middle, the 15% that went for Obama last time and went for the Tea Party candidates this time. Do you think Obama's lost his base?
I think what he's lost is his ability, you're absolutely right, to pull the independents. All the independents that supported them, and a lot of them were Republicans, either didn't vote or swung to the Republicans on the issues, fiscal issues. His problem clearly is that he's not Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton could sit down and say, folks, we saved the banks, we saved Wall Street, we stabilized the economy, and here's how it's going to help you in the future. I feel your pain. Well, Obama's not feeling anybody's pain, and that is one of the major problems. We lost seniors and we lost the youth. Did not vote this time. And so you're right, we got to get back the middle. We got to get back about the independents. We have to be clear about our message. Republicans are in favor of freedom and live in the government. Democrats are in favor of compassion and fairness.
Now, do you think it really is that basic? I mean, do we really still have a big divide between the Republican Party and the Democratic Party from your point of view?
I think yes, I do. I think particularly in Congress, I think there's a clear ideological difference between the role of government. These new people elected to Congress don't believe government has a major role. They want to tinker with Social Security. They want to tinker with Medicare. What they're going to find, however, is if they tinker with Medicare and Social Security, the very same people that elected them are going to turn upon them because, folks say, I want small government. I believe in liberty, but don't mess with my Social Security.
Right. What was that wonderful sign I saw after one of the Tea Party rallies? And it was a Tea Party activist, and they said, I do not want a socialist takeover of my Medicare. I mean, not realizing that Medicare is a government program.
Right.
How well educated do you think the Tea Party is, or is it all about emotion?
It's all about emotion, and I have to tell you, a good friend of mine that worked in the Duke Majan administration with me is a political consultant who was one of the major players in organizing those road trips. It's a very cynical manipulation of the elitist Republicans manipulating the masses.
Now, I mean, your opinion is always of interest to me because you're very educated in political issues. I met you 20 years ago when you were in state government.
I offered you a job.
You did. I turned it down.
Yes.
Well, that's not long enough a show to get into that. But you were a very highly placed Republican.
That's right.
In the state. And, as my mother used to say, there's none so passionate as the recently converted. Now you are full on a Democrat. What caused this?
Well, I mean, the conversion was a multiple series of activities. I came out, I got divorced, I came out, and became a Democrat all at the same time. And I also saw that the Republican Party was moving so far to the right that I just no longer felt comfortable, not only on gay issues, but other issues, major issues.
Now, when you say the Republican Party has moved far to the right, they have used that agenda for good or for ill, depending upon your perspective, to take in more governorships than they have in decades, a historic election where they just saw 60 seats go their way in Congress. But then we're out here in California, and California became even bluer. I mean, I don't know who's running Meg Whitman's campaign, but I imagine someone's not real happy that their candidate spent $180 million, and the more people got to know their candidate, the worse they liked her. And then you have Jerry Brown, first the youngest governor ever elected in the United States, now the oldest governor elected in the United States, who spent a fraction of that and became governor. Is it just because Democrats are more popular in California, or Republicans are less popular?
Well, I think we have unique circumstances in California in terms of issues that relate to women's right to choose and the protection of our coastline, environmental issues, and issues like that that are a little different than the rest of the country. But I think that the lesson is that you just can't buy an election. The voters were overwhelmed with commercials, and at a point they were turned off. Plus the fact that Meg Whitman just could not connect, as opposed to Jerry, who is out there speaking off the cuff, looking right in the face, telling you stories about when he was a Jesuit priest and rambling a little bit, but a clear, he connected in a way that Clinton connects, not quite with the same charm as Bill Clinton, but with the same intellect, and I think that's what we need. And I think the voters at the last maybe 10 days of the campaign said, we played around with an actor, we played around with someone that was going to come in, and bring business expertise to government, but never had an experience. And now we have another one that wants to come on in and show her experience in the business world. And government is not business. They run differently. And I think the public said, well, let's go with this Jerry guy,
Do you think that the value of his name recognition was also really the key? I mean, he's been on how many ballots in California over the last 30 years? I mean, a lot.
I think it played a major role, but you got to remember there's a huge number of citizens that haven't the vaguest idea who he is, don't realize that his father was a two-term governor. So I think it was a mixed bag. Yes, it helped with my generation, but I don't. But the younger generation, under 50 maybe, had to look at Jerry Brown as a completely new product.
Let's talk about some of the other California elections. We got Jerry in. We'll see what he does in his third term as California governor. What about our others? What about Boxer? What about Gavin? What's next for them, and how grateful should Barbara Boxer be that she was reelected?
I swear to God, she should look in the mirror every day and say, "Thank you, Jesus," because I tell you, she's blessed with lousy candidates. This is the first time she had a decent candidate, and she worked her tail off and did a very good job as a candidate. But I hope that she shows a little humility. A little bit more Feinstein, a little bit less Boxer in terms of the way she deals with her constituency. She was lucky to get reelected. She got reelected on the core issues, women's right to choose, LGBT issues, particularly gay marriage issue, and particularly the whole question about, gosh, do we have global warming or not?
Right.
But she was lucky.
Yeah.
Gavin, on the other hand, is my choice. He was my choice for governor in the first place. And I think he's...
Would he still be your choice? Would you have preferred a Governor Newsom to a Governor Brown?
Well, you know, if I was applying for a position in the Brown administration, I wouldn't be saying that, would I? I do think, however, he is the future of the Democratic Party after Jerry Brown, for governor or for Feinstein's seat. I think he's got all the parts, you know, all the pieces put together as a future leader. He understands issues so well, he's way ahead of the curve of most other candidates in terms of these important issues that we face in California.
Meaning, and including same-sex marriage?
Of course.
Because you think that's going to go our way?
I think the court's going to decide this.
Meaning the Supreme Court? Yeah,
the Big E's is going to decide this. And I really do think it's going to be a 5-4 decision in our favor. I really do think that Justice Kennedy is going to look in the mirror and say, what the hell should I do? And the mirror is going to say, do the right thing, Anthony. And I think he will. As far as Don't Ask, Don't Tell is concerned, I'm cautiously optimistic that the Congress will do the right thing in the next week or two. But if it doesn't happen, it's kaput for 2 years, as are the other LGBT issues.
Now, what about the people on the other side of the equation? What about Carly? What about Meg? What about the people that didn't win in the California election? What's next for them?
Well, I was at a memorial for a fellow that worked in the political arena for 40 years that I started with and knew 40 years ago. From San Francisco, his name is Joe Shoemate. He's a political operative. He died unexpectedly 2 weeks ago. He worked on Carly's campaign, and she was one of the speakers. And I thought, my God, she's really articulate and warm. She has a potential. She can walk and talk and chew gum at the same time.
But Meg?
Meg is toast.
And why do you say that? Because
the same thing is going to happen again. She can't connect with the voters. It's not her in her genes.
Do you think that was her or bad advice from her campaign? I mean, we can all Monday morning quarterback this till we're blue in the face, but from my point of view, looking at it as a professional, I thought the day she lost the election was when she gave that press conference and then didn't take any questions from the press.
Well, I think the day she lost the election was when the story about the maid.
You think the maid thing really still resonates with people?
I think it did. I think it really resonated with the Latino voters. However fair or unfair it may have been in terms of an innocent mistake or whatever, the hypocrisy of talking about her immigration positions and juxtaposed against her actual practice with her whatever you call it, maid, was an important factor with the Latino community.
Yeah, and then also wanting to be governor and having not voted for several important elections, that didn't help.
She got up in the morning and looked in the mirror and said, "What else should I do?" And the mirror said, "I want you to be governor." She said, "Okay."
Now, in our last few moments, let's go back to the national stage a little bit. You said that Barack Obama is no Bill Clinton. Could he learn a little bit from Hillary, and are we going to have a challenge to Barack Obama for the Democratic nomination in 2012?
Well, I was thinking about this driving up. There was a story in the New York Times yesterday about a comparison between Kennedy's
challenge to Carter.
President Kennedy.
Yeah.
His first 2 years, he had some. He recovered after his very difficult first 2 years. Obviously, Clinton recovered after the takeover of the Congress, and the question remains, can Barack Obama reconnect with the American public? And I think he can. But I think it's going to take some effort.
And we're going to learn more about what you think those efforts will be next time we have Bob back talking about politics. Next up, we're going to learn what's going to be hot and on stage for New Year's. We'll be speaking with comic Natasha Muse. We'll be right back.
We missed Sarah Palin.